right, a very good evening to you. Welcome to Kivumbi2017, where we look at what has been happening politically in the country. We have 4 days to go before Kenyans decide who exactly is going to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya, as well as several other elective seats. In studio, we have Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer, very familiar face on this show. Next to him, we have Odoyo Widi, who's a political analyst. And we also have Dismas Mokua, who's a political risk analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on Kivumbi2017.
Thank you.
So I need us to have a conversation about sentiments that were made by President Uhuru Kenyatta while he was in Makueni. And that touched a little bit on the chiefs. So can we listen to that and then we have a conversation about it?
Hapa naona nyuso zao kwa sababu wote ni wakodi hao. Unajua. Naona wale katika kazi na wale wengine. Wajue pikipiki zile wanatumia, allowances ambazo wanapata, wajue ni serikali ya Jubilee wenzenu walikuwa wanawafukuza. Tutaonana na nyinyi baada ya uchaguzi, nyinyi tutasema. Tunaelewana wazee? Tutakuwa na nyinyi. Usione sisi hatujui nini inaendelea dunia hii.
President Uhuru Kenyatta there while he was in Makueni, basically telling the chiefs the allowances you're drawing and the motorcycles you ride are property of Jubilee. It is a threat of some sort, Dismas. What are your thoughts?
Well, obviously, those are threats. You know, the president does not speak in vain. But I think the big picture that the president was speaking on was Chapter 6 and the Leadership and the Integrity Act. And for the longest time possible in this campaign, NASA has been complaining that a number of public servants, as well as parastatal heads and managing directors, have been very active in the campaign. And the Leadership and the Integrity Act actually allows the cabinet secretaries, as well as the county ministers, to engage in political affairs. That's why you are able to see Dr. Matiang'i, Mwangi Kiunjuri, Amin Abdallah, all over campaigning for Jubilee, which is a piece of legislation which was actually watered down by the members of the National Assembly. Because in mature democracies where people respect the bureaucracy, you don't have public servants openly identifying with their political parties unless they are carefully selected political appointees. And NASA has been complaining that you have these top public servants openly engaging in political activities, doing fundraisings, or going for political rallies, and they're actually branded. So what happened yesterday in Makueni, the president was actually getting back. He was getting a test of his own medicine because he said, now you have the chiefs who he said are aligned to NASA.
To the opposition.
Yeah, and there's and I know the lawyers would say there's no evidence to confirm whether or not they are aligned to Jubilee or whether they're aligned to NASA. But because of the kind of reception he got, because we understand that he got a very hostile reception, and he said, I mean, these are supposed to be my officers. They're part of this crowd. And people are heckling me, and their hands are right in their pockets. They're seated on their pockets. Yeah. So what are they supposed to be doing? And so by him telling the provincial administration, restructured or otherwise, that after the elections I'm coming back, I doubt whether he's suggesting that if he retains his position as the president, he'll go back and have a cup of tea.
Oh.
He's not going for a cup of tea. That can only be interpreted to mean that there's going to be disciplinary action taken against them. Now, that's a double-edged sword. Because those chiefs now have got the fear of the good Lord in their system. They're going the extra mile to campaign for NASA to ensure that at least a friendly person becomes the president, so that if it's Kalonzo going back, it's probably going to promote them. But again, in that conversation, it raises a bigger picture. That as a head of state, whether you are the leader for Jubilee or NASA, you are still the president of the Republic of Kenya. You are a symbol of national unity. When you are visiting any part of Kenya, you are campaigning, you are supposed to, you occupy a very serious pedestal. You are supposed to play in a superior league. You cannot play in the league where Raila Odinga is playing, because you are the symbol of national unity. And you recall, when President Kenyatta was in Turkana, the people who were in that meeting said, he lost his cool. He was boiling over with fury. He even said, even if you don't vote for me, I'm still going to become president.
He actually said something similar, which I'll play for you. Owidi, what are your thoughts?
I think we need to look at the genesis of newly found method of dealing with institutions in Kenya by Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. It began the day the court ruled that the votes counted at the polling centers and constituencies will be final. Then the next thing I saw is an enraged president point fingers at the judiciary and IEBC.
So you think
and
the president
since
is not...
that day, there has never been a favorable ruling to NASA. Then we came to now the chiefs. Remember, I remember that was the IEBC and then the judiciary, now the chiefs that now represent the civil servants. And it worked for him that time. And I think he thought, now let me go back to Kambani. That is the only place where I can intimidate the chiefs to do the bidding of Jubilee, to have the chiefs campaign for Jubilee like his ministers are doing. So I think it's just a new pattern he's using when his old one failed.
So we have an angry president.
I don't know Wede is seeing ghosts from the president.
What ghosts?
Yeah. The president was trying to remind the chiefs that the enemy of the provincial administration over the years on record has been Honorable Raila Odinga.
Whether that sounded like a threat, not reminding people.
I'm coming to it.
Okay.
As a lawyer, you develop a case.
Oh, develop your case then.
Yes, he was telling them, this guy wanted you, all of you out.
Yeah.
In fact, that's why most of them did not vote for Raila in 2013. Okay? But he went to Makwini as a president. He was not a civilian like Honorable Kalonzo or the others. Yeah. He was a president. And therefore, a chief, a sub-chief, a DO are actually government. So whatever your inclination, official duty requires that you behave in a given way, even if you will vote differently. You may vote for NASA, but when the boss comes, you must recognize. But some of them, I think, after taking or smoking something, they enter into the dancing syndrome that you see among the NASA leaders. And therefore, they behaved in a way that did not show that they recognize that this president is there. So I do not think that the president was threatening them. The president was simply telling them, he was simply telling them, stop behaving like this. But if you continue and I come back, definitely, you know that's an offense.
What does this sound like a threat? I mean, someone who tells you the allowances you're drawing and the motorcycles you ride are properties of Jubilee. Not Jubilee,
Jubilee government.
Okay, Jubilee government.
Before, in the joint coalition government, the one where Honorable Kibaki and Honorable Raila were leading, the chiefs were hungry. They were never given anything. They were left to suffer. In fact, Raila was every day saying, scrap this thing. And Kibaki was going under the table to keep them. Now, when this Uhuru Ruto government came, then they were empowered.
Linda,
they were retrained.
Okay.
I think we can't let Ambrose continue.
Okay,
No,
I'm going to give you your time. Okay.
I don't think...
You get it, please listen. So that is why the president is saying, in this my 4-year regime, you have been empowered. And now you are using the empowerment just to show me that I'm a nobody. So when I come back to power, I'll deal with you.
No, I think there is no day anywhere in time when Raila Odinga was the prime minister that he said the chiefs should go. I think you are putting mouths into his words, if not words into his mouth. But remember, it's only President Uhuru Kenyatta who has had an altercation with about 4 governors, the judiciary, IEBC, and now as low as chiefs. That is the height of it. And you see, enragement, anger is temporary insanity. He's forgotten that he's president. He's going down to Makwini to threaten people as small as chiefs. After the chiefs,
the village elders small.
They are small people.
Do you know
compared to the president, they are very small people. In fact, he should even
now
ignore
the way these NASA people talk. They call people small. They call people this. The president values Kenyans at equal place.
I think the germane issue is are public servants allowed to participate in politics, actively campaigning for a candidate, whether the candidate is incumbent or otherwise? I think that's the germane issue.
I think the question is Uhuru justified in being upset with the chiefs for allegedly campaigning?
We shouldn't tiptoe around this important issue. Maybe if you look at other mature democracies, they would assist us understand this. When Cameron is campaigning in the UK, maybe pro-Brexit or anti-Brexit, he doesn't do campaigns with the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy will let him go do his campaign. The same situation obtains in Japan, in Italy. Wherever those prime ministers or presidents are doing their campaigns, they don't drag along the entire bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is supposed to be the engine of government. You leave them to work at that place. So if you've gone to Makueni and you're campaigning and the audience has got a hostile reception, maybe it's because of the way you delivered your message. They don't appreciate the message. Maybe they feel you're stepping on their toes. And the chiefs, I mean, what would you expect the chiefs to do? If people have started heckling you, the chiefs, I don't know how many there are, they wouldn't start rounding up everybody. Or maybe they didn't mean that he wanted the chiefs to prepare those people that are our boss is coming from Nairobi. If he says anything you find unacceptable, you remain mute. If he says something that you like, clap for him. I don't know what the chiefs are supposed to be doing. But when the head of state says, after this election, I'm coming back, he's not coming back to have a cup of tea with you. You know, it's the same thing we are told, that if you're a suspect in, say, a murder, when the policemen invite you to the police station to assist in investigation or interrogation, you're not going to sit and enjoy a cup of coffee as you give them information. Chances are that you'll find yourself in a terrible, hostile corner. Okay. But I think what we must do, what President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga need to do in this election, which is coming to an end, maybe the train has already left the station, is that for the 2022 election, there must be serious consequences and penalties for a public officer who actively participates in politics. Yeah, and the only time the president is becoming nervous, because all along, the bureaucracy has been working in his favor. So he probably expected the same was going to be the case in Makueni. But when he got there, it was an entirely different ballgame.
Listen, I want us to listen to whether is there something you want to say?
Yes. What is this big hostile reception that these people are peddling around? If you see that clip, the president had a crowd and he was talking to them and they were in red and they were answering him. He was simply complaining that my chiefs, the ones that Honorable Raila did not want to continue in office, I have given the motorbikes and they're earning allowance. They're using those allowances.
To be fair, he had quite a hostile
reception. And I will come and deal with you. It is not that there was hostile reception.
Okay.
Please, let us not mega things.
I need to assist you. President Uhuru Kenyatta did not give the chiefs the motorcycles. It was the government of the Republic of Kenya. And let me tell you, what President Uhuru Kenyatta was doing was using a coded language to warn the chiefs, either you are with us or you are jobless when I return.
We need to listen to something else that the president had to say today with respect to NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga. Could you play that?
Akiingia kwa chaguzi ameibiwa. Mara 4 atuambia ameibiwa. Sasa wewe hata kama umeibiwa mara 4, shida ni nani? Ni wewe au ni yule? Kama umeibiwa si uibe.
Hey, okay. The gloves are off. Come on, baby.
Tell me where that was.
Okay, allow me to have that conversation. The statements by President Kenyatta are actually shocking to a nation of which is supposed to be governed by the rule of law and order. Essentially, what he's saying is that the IEBC, which has been reformed, the entire nation has been wasting time. But when we go for the elections, it's going to be about who is a clever thief. And in the old Chinese society, they used to train clever thieves. So when he's saying that if you've been complaining after every election that somebody is stealing your vote, why can't you be a sophisticated thief so that you've got a superior game on how to steal that election? And we know for a fact that those kind of statements, they can easily bring tensions within the nation because people have been crying. I mean, the same NASA leadership spent hours on end in the streets, lying prostrate on a hot tarmac, wanting IEBC to go home. IEBC has gone home. There's been minimal reforms, which people say gives us a reasonable chance of having free, fair, and credible election. So those are the kind of statements that we do not need today. Okay. Instead, what we should have told Raila Odinga is for him to understand what Kenyans are looking for and give them that message of hope. Even if it's giving them erroneous promises, like he's going to get another SGR maybe to Bondo, so that people vote in a manner which... Because, right now, people are a bit uncomfortable. And those kind of statements are most unwelcome.
You see, these people... fear...
Which people were there?
Even my brother here. They fear President Uhuru and Jubilee so much that they have alluded everything big to Jubilee. They have a lot of money. They are going to steal. They are going to beat people. How can you defeat somebody you fear so much? What the president was saying is this.
What?
He was saying, each time there's an election, Honorable Raila Odinga complains that he has been rigged. In other words, he is complaining too much. And he's telling, how comes it is you? Each time complaining. Even if you think other people...
but don't you agree with what Dismas says? It's in bad taste.
No.
It's not.
Where we are now is 4 days. The gloves are off.
So 4 days means what? You can say anything and everything you want to say.
In fact, now there's no joke. The remaining few days, hakuna kucheza. Even if you listen to what Honorable Raila said in Kisumu, even the way they were dancing, the dancing is now more vigorous, and they are going chini kwa chini. So, do not take President Uhuru's statements out of context. Take it within the context. No, we're not taking it out of context. Take it within the Kivumbi context. There's
Kivumbi context.
And they are saying, you know somebody, you know now it is like if you take Honorable Raila and Honorable Uhuru, both of them, they're in a place where one of them will drown. Okay. And any drowning person will say anything. So you will see Raila saying anything, President Uhuru saying anything. So let us not scrutinize with a monocle when it comes to Uhuru. It is true that Honorable Raila has always said he's been rigged. Yeah. Okay? So this even there are times I supported him in the 97. He said he was rigged out, but we were together and we lost. So these are the riggings that the president is saying. Please stop it. Let's just go into it. He's the one who fought IEBC. He threw them out.
I need to take a break. I need to give Owidi the final say in this before we take a break.
You know. I'm very worried about what President Uhuru is trying to sell across. Because if you look at the history of Raila Odinga, it is his cleanliness that has made him a victim of rigors of elections. Because, you see, Raila Odinga goes into government with the one message: I am going to clean the government of Kenya now and forevermore. Okay. And the robbers of the people of Kenya cannot accept this. And their friends and their business partners, they cannot accept this. And this is why they all gang up to rob Raila Odinga of victory. Because they don't want a clean Kenya. They want a Kenya where you build a standard gauge railway at 300 billion that will take 300 years to repay.
Your sentiments on
the
president...
They need a Kenya where all projects are informed by the corruption cartels. In fact, Jubilee's manifesto was written by corruption cartels intending to use...
Those are your words, Kevin.
They are my words, of course, but I know. See, I only speak the things I know and believe in.
That is why.
That is why.
Do you think?
Telling Honorable Raila, do you think up. This complaint every year? Wachana naye kama umeshindwa, leave it and go.
Linda, do you think the SGR was built because of any economic things? If that railway line brings 3 million a day, that means at the end of the year we'll have 1 billion. To pay 327 billion, we will need 327 years. The railway will be long time obsolete.
That's very simple.
And we have not even done the operation cost.
I need to take a break, Kevin.
That's village
so it was informed by corruption cartels who wanted a piece of the 327 billion.
We're not even playing them on air. They're coming up next. You're watching Kivumbi2017. Thank you for staying with us. We're looking at the political campaign and what has been happening since yesterday and today. Allow me to take a short break. We'll be back with this conversation.
Kivumbi2017 for all your election coverage.
A 21st century economy needs a 21st century port. Cognizant of this fact, Kenya Ports Authority embarked on the modernization and expansion of the Port of Mombasa with a 25-year strategic plan. This strategic plan envisions a world-class port capable of handling the biggest ships of our time and seamless interconnectivity with other modes of transport.
When you combine all these kind of modes of transport, the future is bright.
Excuse me, listen up. Standard Digital has no outrageous headlines just to get clicks. We take our watchdog role seriously. We bring you the news without any special interests. accuracy is our first priority. What are you waiting for? Visit www.standardmedia.co.ke now for the full truth. Standard Digital. True, vigilant, unbiased. Your election coverage starts here. Kivumbi2017.
You're watching Kivumbi2017. Thank you for staying with us. So we're having a very interesting conversation here in studio. We have right next to me Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer. We have Odoyo Widi, who's a political analyst, and right next to him we have Dismas Mukua, political risk analyst, and looking at what has been happening on the political front 4 days to the August 8th general election. So the Electoral Commission carried out the much-awaited simulation of its results transmission system, and the dry run was done in selected polling stations in several different counties in the country. Let's listen into what NASA's co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka had to say about the simulation.
Na hapa tunaambia IEBC basi, kwa sababu jana walifanya testing na wakasema vifaa vinafanya kazi. Wananchi wa Kenya hawatakubali kusikia havifanye kazi. Wananchi wa Kenya watarajia kwamba wao wakihesabu tunahesabu, wakijumulisha tunajumulisha, wakirusha tunarusha, wakitangaza saa 8 tunatangaza.
Owidi, wakirusha tunarusha, wakitangaza tunatangaza.
What Kalonzo is trying to do there is trying to tell them that we need a transparent electioneering process, so that what they announce, we also announce ours, and the country sees if they tally. But remember, in the last general election, we had a situation where there was transmission. We didn't know whether what we are getting is what was transmitted from the other end. And remember, at one point, the chairman of the, I think, IEBC then, whatever it was,
It's okay,
came and told us that these spoiled votes that you see are becoming so many have reduced because there was a program in this system that was multiplying the figures by 8. Now we have removed it and now they are okay. But where I was sitting, as somebody who studied maths very well, I need, if the figures we are seeing were being multiplied by 8, it means they should have all been divisible by 8. They were not. But there was nobody there to interrogate this.
Okay, so this particular election,
so
how
this
confident are you?
Even this particular one, having done that transmission test, we cannot be 100% sure that this thing is going to work, because it can be interfered with now, or the ones that were done, the 3 of them, were the only good one. What about the rest? We should have had a situation like they had promised to do, at least from a polling center in all the 47 counties.
Yes. So the simulation, did it give you confidence in the whole process?
I have not just landed from the space. We live in this country. And we have been, even already he has been to his bankers. And occasionally he goes there and he's told the systems are down. Sometimes the biggest, the giant Safaricom, the multi-billion company says our systems are down, things are down. M-Pesa is not working. This one also we have, I don't know, 50 or 100,000 gadgets which are going to be used. Let Kenyans know a few may not work. So let us not see evil and the theft and conspiracy. Let us know that these are things made with human hands. They will work, and we're praying very hard that they all work. But some may fail. And when they fail, please let's not see conspiracy. What he is saying and promising, and what Honorable Kalonzo is promising, he is just trying to amuse that crowd. He's not being a leader to tell them that we expect that even if there were failures, it should be over 75% good. Okay. Let's not see 50-50 failure. So but the way he's talking, it's just trying to say if the one fails, then you see they are rigging.
Okay, this must, in terms of election preparedness and the simulation, How confident are you in the entire process?
I've had the opportunity of speaking with commissioners at IBC and also suppliers, as well as staffers, so as to form a view on their state of preparedness. When you speak to these three categories of people, they inspire confidence that the system this time round is very good for several reasons. Number one, part of the reason why the technology failed during the last election, it was because of commercial infights within IBC. There are some politicians, as we were preparing to go for a general election, they were interested in making a quick buck, they were interested in making some money. So all of them competed, came up with technologies which were not compatible. This time round, the technology is compatible, it's already been tested. You recall last time, people did not even test the technology. Nobody knew how the technology was going to work.
It was going to work or
but
not.
this time it's been tested times above number, and people are, you can say there's a reasonable chance that it's going to be successful. That's the first thing which has happened. Then the second thing, in the past election, if you make a mistake as an IEBC official or ECK, you commit an error of either maybe commission or omission, whatever you do, you can go back to your home and enjoy a cup of coffee while the body corporate gets into trouble. But this time around, they've been told for any errors of commission or omission, it's individual responsibility. You are going to be held responsible. I met with a number of returning officers when they came to the training in Nairobi. On the way back to the village, they were requesting for power banks because they know if there's going to be a failure at the area of jurisdiction, they're going to dance to the music all alone. If you get a politician to influence you, you are not going to be in contact with the politician.
Like Weda says, there needs to be that percentage where you know maybe at some point some may not work.
Yeah, obviously some may not work. And maybe what now IBC needs to clarify is to publicize regulation so that people can understand at what stage are you going to say the electronic system has failed? Who has the last word? Is it the returning officer? And if the returning officer is going to make that pronouncement, is it going to be a one-man pronouncement? Or is he going to sit down and consult people so that everybody is agreeable? Because there's a very high chance that if somebody wants to steal the election, and there's a very high probability that all the players would want to steal these elections. You know, in this country, we've got a very high appetite for stealing. We like to steal everything. So people need to be very careful and agreeable that at what stage are you going to say now the electronic system has failed, then let's go to manual. And when you go to the manual system, what are the quality control systems you'll have so that during the transition, you don't give a mischievous or a clever politician who is likely to, who has got thieving tendencies to steal.
Yes.
Okay, Kevin's first before you start saying I'm giving
I
you
think
my
the issue here, which both my colleagues have talked about, is whether the system works or doesn't work. But for me, my fear is not whether the system is working or not. It's whether the people behind it are honest. Because the system can fail, but remember at the polling station, once you arrive at the polling station, agents from both sides take the serial numbers of the ballot papers and how many there are.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, that even if the system fails, and these people do their job well, with fairness and honesty, we can still have a very credible election.
Okay. What do you get the final word?
I expect about 70% success.
Okay. So 30%.
You know, these are mere gadgets people put in their bags. And you go there, you put your hand, it does not pick it up, you put again, it is dead. That is what is called failure. Let people not think there will be jets from Russia making them fail. So there is bound to be failure. That is number one. Two, he has said something. The human being. We rely on them. But even the Creator God himself regretted creating the human being. Because look at Genesis 6, verse 6 and 5. Because the heart of the human is deep and only the man can cope. So some people will have good gadgets. And they just interfere with them. So that we can only pray. I'm telling you. So 70% success, we say hallelujah. But 100% the way Honorable Kalonzo is promising, that one is utopia.
So, listen, we have 4 days to the general election. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has come under a lot of criticism and fire, so to speak, especially on social media, on sentiments he made in Makueni County with respect to the Kamba community. Could we play that? Because I want to understand exactly why people are upset about this.
Na mimi nataka niwahakikishie. Sisi tunawaomba kura, hatulazimishi. Nyinyi mtapiga pahali mtataka.
Did that in any way sound like the president telling the residents there that I don't need your vote?
No. I remember in 2012, we went with the president as he was going to Ndiwa. He was a Hague suspect and not a president. We went with him, and we passed through Kisumu. And I remember we were agreeing that when you reach here, these people are generally Raila's people, these ones.
So be careful.
Speak carefully.
Yeah.
So he says, kila mtu, nini, if he wins, sawa. If I win, sawa. But I urge you, don't leave me alone. Don't leave me with nothing. He said it again when he went to Kisumu.
Okay.
That's exactly what he said when he was in Makueni.
Let me pick your mind
that
on
you are
that.
free. It was not threatening. But the truth is, he won without the Kamba vote, just like he won without the Luo vote. Raila would have won without the Kikuyu vote. Sometimes you also imply and say, Bwana, don't push me too hard. Don't laugh at me so much. Yet, the fact is, tuko hapa and you are not. I'm urging you to join me this time so that you are not alone.
So you think people are being unfair? You think people are being unfair to the president?
They actually don't just want to hear the truth. They say it every day.
What are your thoughts? Critically, looking at what he said.
You know, when Mr. Raila Odinga goes for a public rally, he attends the public rally as a NASA presidential candidate. When President Kenyatta goes for a public rally, he attends the rally as a Jubilee presidential candidate and as the President of the Republic of Kenya, a symbol of national unity. So the president has got a bigger burden compared to Raila Odinga on what he says. Every word which comes out of the mouth of President Kenyatta, in as much as we may say we have a powerful constitution, has got almost the effect of law. That's why the president's speech has to go through a bureaucracy. Every single word that he pronounces, it has to be very clear. People shouldn't interpret whatever Kenyatta is saying in more ways than one. When he says something, it's supposed to be so clear. Because when the president is addressing people in Makueni, we are not supposed to go sit back and ask ourselves, wait a minute, President Kenyatta has been here, what did he mean to say? No. You can't leave room for that. Because he's the president of the Republic of Kenya, a symbol of national unity. And to be fair to President Kenyatta, when he loses his cool, when people start crawling under his skin, he speaks his mind, he forgets that it needs to be very clear. He said the same thing when he was in Turkana. He lost his school. I think there was a bit of a political altercation with Governor Nanok. And he also said the same thing that you guys, I'm here, but even if you don't vote for me, I'm still going to be in office. Now, the statements he made in Makueni, whether he actually meant to say that people in Cumberland, whether or not you vote for me, I'm still going to become president. What the audience interpreted his statements to mean is that he doesn't like our vote anymore.
Yeah, with or without.
With or without, he's going to be president.
Okay.
And now that has formed propaganda on the vernacular stations today. Yeah. The entire day people are saying, wait a minute, he's a bit condescending. He's coming here to tell us that he's coming back to fire us, whether or not we vote for him.
Did he? Covens?
What is happening now, we are seeing the true and the real Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta is that guy who loses his cool at the whim of, those feathers. You just do this, he has lost his cool. And I think this is about the 16th time he's losing his cool on live TV. He's human, but when it is too much, then we have to go back and say, is this guy really fit to lead this nation? Because this is a guy who has the powers to send us to war. He's a guy who has the powers to order the arrest of anyone in this country. So he must be somebody very cool. And I think when things begin to go wrong, that is when you see the real man. When a man is under pressure, that is when you see the true him. Today we are seeing the true Uhuru Kenyatta. He even forgot that he went to Cumberland to plead for votes. He's actually now threatening them, threatening chiefs, threatening the people, even telling them that I don't need your votes. I can do it without you. I've done it even before.
The question is...
Just allow me. That's my point. A president or even actually a leader is supposed to be emotionless. And a good example that Kenyans can relate with is Barack Obama. If you recall, during his first campaign, he was all over. You'd read a lot of emotion on his face. But as soon as he was declared the winner, he addressed an audience a few hours after being declared the winner. The first thing you noticed in the audience, there was no branding collateral saying, yes, we can. He went there and he spoke, and people were very surprised.
They were like, wow.
That this gentleman yesterday, he was all over flamboyant, dancing as Owidi says, and Ambrose. But a few hours later, he's not emotionless. That's a president supposed to be very guarded.
Correct.
That's what Americans today are saying, wait a minute, the guy now we have occupying the White House is temperamental, is sending tweets every single day. A good leader must be guarded.
I think my brother wants to migrate to America. Here we are used to people like Kibaki saying mafia, cuckoo. So this motionless, whatever president who is acting, an actor, pretending, we have a president who is realistic. When it is annoying, you get annoyed. When it is laughing, he laughs. When it is jumping, he jumps. When it is dancing...
Even at the expense of making people feel like they're not part of...
If you listen to that clip fairly, the president did not say, I don't need your vote. He said, you are free to vote for whoever you want to vote for. I'm requesting you. Now, these are the things are being churned out, as you know, NASA, the lords of propaganda and dancing, they're churning it out to marshal the canvas, who are already 50-50.
Ambrose, you are misleading the listeners.
Please listen. 50, I live in Machakos County. 50 are actually on Uhuru's side. And Honorable Kalonzo and Honorable Lela are desperate. So they are waiting for something to churn around propaganda. This one, the president was there to request for their votes in their own stronghold.
According to you, he was requesting for votes.
Yes. But then he was telling them, he was just telling them that join me in government. This opposition desert that the Luos are used to, and then they have dragged your brother Kalonzo, please don't go into it, because even this one, I've already won. Please join me.
Okay.
No, Linda.
No.
I think Ambrose Weda has got the latest propaganda, calling truth propaganda. That is his latest propaganda, that wherever he goes anywhere, he calls the truth propaganda, and that is what makes him take this list. But people dance, even Ruto dance, Uhuru dances. I've always seen them dance. In fact, there's a dance that they made somewhere that we have inserted the NASA song into it. So it's actually Jubilee dancing for NASA.
Okay, you're watching Kivumbi2017. Thank you for staying with us. Before we wrap this up, I'd like us to listen to a presser that we had today by Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet on the state of security in the country. And then you'll get one statement each. Then we can wrap this up. Yes.
In every county, we have a joint multi-agency security operation center, which has one command and which is ready to handle the worst case scenario.
We shall endeavor to ensure that whatever response is done is proportionate to the situation that we are required to normalize.
So in terms of security that has been put in place in the country 4 days to the general election, allow me to begin with you, Dismas. How confident are you that we are set with respect to security?
Well, from what Dr. Matiang'i has been saying, the comfort levels are very high, that we are solid. But I think as a nation, we need just to go back to the 10 commandments, where we have trust in people and trust in institutions. When people are voting in the UK, you don't have this kind of security taking place. The elections are largely run by volunteers. You walk into a polling station, you give them your name, they check on a register, they cross using a pencil, you vote, and you go home. You are unlikely to see a policeman. But in Kenya, the election is like a massive security operation, where you need the Kenya police.
Maybe because of 2007?
Yeah, you're going to have the NYS, you're going to have the military, you're going to have the prison warden. You're even going to get KWS Rangers. Now we are behaving like we are lions. We really need to work on our trust levels so that we are very solid. You go pick your ballots,
we need to be able to trust the system.
Yeah, we need to trust the system.
Okay, all right. Kevin?
For me, Linda, I think we are getting it completely wrong. Even if we have 2007 to refer to, we need to go back and see what went wrong in 2007 that make this country explode. Even in primary schools, we do not cane people anymore to toe the line.
Okay.
We need to provide them with justice. In Kenya today, the only way we will not go into the streets is to have a free and fair electioneering. That is when we will not go to the streets. But going to procure 17 or whatever number of riot control vehicles that have water cannons, the power that can kill you by hitting you on the head direct, is telling us that we want to take this power by force, so we have brought the force home. You can see it and you can hear our forces ready to pin you down, suppress you, so that we take the power and continue running riot over you.
Whether?
Let me say that the good book in Matthew 5, verse 9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God."
Okay.
We are going for elections under on the background of fear.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear in there.
And uncertainty.
And then it is also a do or die elections.
Okay.
So with that fear, things are very volatile. And it is therefore incumbent upon the sitting government to ensure that there is sufficient arrangements to ensure there is peace and then to assure people of their own security. So that, I think, will account for movements. But the ultimate security rests with us. Are we peacemakers or we are going to chant violence?
Okay.
It is us. If we say no to any form of violence,
there will
be none, even if the police are there or they are not there. And I urge fellow Kenyans, I said it, I keep on repeating. President Uhuru Kenyatta, Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, my friend Kuru Akot, and Wainaina, none of them is worth the blood of anybody.
Okay.
And therefore do not kill for any of them.
That's a very good point to end it. None of them is worth the blood of anybody. You have been watching Kivumbi 2017. Thank you for your time, for staying with us. We had in studio Ambrose Weda, who's a lawyer, Odoyo Widi, who's a political analyst, and Dismas Mokua, who's a political risk analyst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Let's do this all over again tomorrow. We have 4 days to the August 8th general election and all plans are in place. Have a good night. I'm Linda Ogutu.